I'm Doug Eadie, President and CEO of Doug Eadie and Company. Our mission is helping boards, chief executive officers, and senior executives to become more effective leaders in challenging times. I'd like to tell you a bit about my high-impact governing model, which I've described in several of my books, including my new best-selling Governance Edge books, Meeting the Governing Challenge, and Building a Rock-Solid Partnership with Your Board. Now, there is a fundamental long-term benefit for you in applying my high-impact governing model in your organization. And that's creating an organization that's secure, stable, and thriving in challenging times. Now, a little more down to earth, there are two more concrete, practical benefits that you'll realize from my high-impact governing model. One, a board that does a great job of making the most complex, the highest stakes governing decisions that are necessary to deal with whatever strategic issues you're facing at any given time. Now, a strategic issue can be a major challenge. For example, a projected revenue shortfall down the pike, a trend of declining membership in your association, demographic change in your community that might force you to redraw school boundaries. And strategic issues can be opportunities, the most obvious being a new federal or foundation grant program that you can take advantage of, or a potential partnership with a major stakeholder organization. The second very concrete practical benefit of applying the high-impact governing model is to create the kind of rock-solid board chief executive partnership that can provide the leadership that these times demand. The kind of partnership that can withstand the inevitable stresses and strains at the top. Now, there are 5 key elements of my high-impact governing model that I'd like to describe to you briefly. Number 1, a clear, detailed board governing mission. A kind of high-level board job description that spells out the major governing functions and responsibilities of your board. For example, our board is responsible for ensuring that we have a clear, detailed set of strategic goals, that we have an updated, crystal clear vision statement, that we generate the resources required to carry out our mission fully, and so on. The second key element of my high-impact governing model is well-defined, detailed processes for involving your board meaningfully in key governing areas. For example, strategic planning, operational planning and budget development, performance oversight and monitoring, and maintaining relationships with the wider world and key stakeholders. The third element of my high-impact governing model is systematic, continuous development of your board's governing knowledge and skills. Now, that might sound kind of simple, but the field of governing is not only very complex, it's changing rapidly. So it's easier said than done. But there are a variety of ways that you can keep your board's knowledge and skills updated, including sending board members to governance workshops, having governance retreats in your organization, and such simple things as building a library of governing periodicals and books, or assigning new board members to more senior board members to serve as their mentors. The fourth element of my high-impact governing model is a structure of board governing committees to help your board carry out its detailed governing responsibilities. Now, I'm not talking about just any committees. I'm talking well-designed committees, which very simply means that they match the actual decision-making work of your board. So, we'd expect to find a planning committee, because the board makes a number of very critical planning decisions. We'd expect to find an accountability committee responsible for monitoring financial and non-financial performance. We'd expect to find an external relations committee responsible for maintaining our image, our relationships with the wider community and with key stakeholders. And we'd expect to find a governance committee accountable for coordinating the work of the board itself. And the fifth key element of my high-impact governing model is meticulous management of that most precious, always complex, and frequently very fragile partnership between your board and your chief executive officer. Whether that officer is a superintendent of schools, an executive director of a social service agency, the general manager of a transportation authority, or the president and CEO of an international association. One of the best ways, by the way, to keep that precious relationship healthy is a well-designed and capably executed process for board evaluation of your chief executive's performance. Well, that's my high-impact governing model in a nutshell. It's not theoretically very exotic. There's nothing fancy about it. But what makes it so attractive is that you can put it to practical use now in your organization to generate the powerful benefits I've described. And you can do it without breaking the bank, with a modest investment of time and money. I'd be delighted to discuss my high-impact governing model with you. You can give me a call at 800-209-7652 or email me, doug@dougeadie.com. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.